Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. We've done many stories on the awfulness of the Greens. They are truly terrible. We usually are talking about their awful policies, every single one of which, of course, has failed. Often spectacularly, usually expensively, but fail they have. And indeed, yesterday we did the story of Fergus Ewing, who is calling for a vote within the party to see if the Butte House Agreement should indeed be cancelled. And it looks like if there was a vote, the vast majority of members of the SNP would vote to ditch the Greens, send them on their way, and to go back to just being a bonkers party rather than a green bonkers party. Well, it seems it's not just Fergus Ewing. Neil Gray has also joined the chorus. He, of course, is Humza Yousaf's sort of stout lieutenant. And he is saying to the Greens, either shape up or ship out and stop being anti-growth. Because, of course, they are. They are the enemy of business. So we'll take a look at this article, see what he's saying, and see if it is, game over really for the Greens and if the SNP will ditch them and go it alone. And you want to hope that they do. Not that it will help the SNP now. I think the damage has been done, which is good. But it does at least remove the two buffoons at the top of the party from ever sort of announcing any more mad policy ideas that other people may feel obliged to follow for some weird, inexplicable reason. Anyway, here goes. Right, before we get into it, if you are new to the channel, do please hit the subscribe button and press the like button because it really helps with the algorithm to get the news out. The way that the algorithm works is the more likes you have on a particular video, the wider that video goes, but the more subscribers you have, the more it puts them out on the random sort of selection. It sort of encourages people to see them more, and therefore, again, we get the truth out there. More people become aware of what is going on. Because it's important that we do let everyone know. And of course, being political as these are, sometimes YouTube gets a bit shady about things and kind of restricts the numbers because it doesn't really like politically motivated videos. So it's very important you hit the subscribe button, otherwise you may not see all the videos. Anyway, we'll get into this one. Humza Yousaf's right-hand man issues warning to crackpot Greens over anti-growth issues and policies. Because they dislike growth, because for them growth means, people might earn some money, might be happy, might be somehow content. And the idea that someone somewhere is happy is anathema to the Greens. Economy Secretary Neil Gray, who is the First Minister's closest ally at Holyrood, has spoken out privately against Lorna Slater's anti-business proposals. Not so private now, I think. It's now in the public domain. And there's a picture of three idiots. And you've got the leprechaun of Leven, you've got Humza in the middle, and you've got Jeffrey the giraffe on the right hand side. She actually looks alright in that picture. Sometimes she's a funny thing. Sometimes she looks very, very attractive, and at other times she looks very, very odd. She's a strange woman. Anyway, Humza Yousaf's right hand man but I will say he always looks like a leprechaun. Humza Yousaf's right-hand man has issued a private warning to one of his Green ministerial colleagues over the party's anti-growth stance, amid growing rumours of division within the coalition government. These rumours of division are yelled now. They're becoming loud choruses of disapproval from entire factions within the party. It isn't. It began as a whispering campaign, became a murmuring campaign, but now they're actually they're throwing parties and inviting people there and saying, "Please join us. We need to get these Greens out." And that motion to remove the Greens from government is gaining momentum. It's growing. It's snowballing, and I think it comes to the point, and I would say very soon. If not days, then certainly a couple of weeks. I think the momentum will be there that Humza Yousaf will have no option but to break the Good Friday Agreement, the Butte House Agreement, and kick them into touch, basically. Anyway, Neil Gray, the Economy Secretary and one of the First Minister's closest allies, is understood to have delivered the message to Scottish Greens co-leader Lorna Slater. He warned her against making businesses feel as though the administration is coming for them, with proposals for a coffee cup levy, recycling fines and tighter limits of product disposals. But they are going for them. They are pushing. They are anti-business. The Greens are completely anti-business. Although how they expect to pay for a country to run through taxes without businesses is anybody's guess. But of course they're not very bright. This is the problem. When you allow morons, positions of power and authority, this is the sort of thing, exactly the sort of thing that happens. Anyway, this comes amid vocal opposition from SNP backbencher Fergus Ewing, amongst many more now, who last week called for a members' vote on the future of the SNP Greens alliance agreed by Nicola Sturgeon. Well, actually, he called for it on Sunday, so it depends on when you call the week. Last couple of days. The conflict has also reached Westminster, with Commons leader Stephen Flynn attempting to distance himself from Patrick Harvey's controversial plans on heat pumps by telling the press he's not in tandem with the Greens. Now, even Beryl knows that this is an absolutely bonkers idea and will absolutely lose them all their seats if brought in. It could be the end of the SNP in entirety if it's brought in, because people just don't have the cash for it. Tensions have also been brewing out of the public eye, with the Daily Mail reporting that an MSP, not naming no names apparently, branded the so-called Butte House Agreement a disaster and added it is dragging us down and it is destroying us. Everyone can see that except the blind. And Miss Forbes, who may or may not have said that, is perfectly correct. This follows Mr. Yousaf's previous admission that he is battling splits in the SNP. And this is a line, because it says here as a section of his party is angered by his alliance with the Greens. In actual fact, the SNP is not just split, it is fractured. There are power bases everywhere. And I mentioned this before, how Kate Forbes has got her power base. You have the very, very left-wing part of the SNP sort of coalescing in one area. You have sort of a centrist group. You have the Fergus Ewing is now building a power base. And as I said before, the only person who really doesn't have any kind of power base at all is the leader. So his days are probably numbered anyway. But the whole of the SNP is fracturing into factional infighting. And none of them really want to be with the Greens. It's sort of a wedding of convenience. A bit like Sturgeon and Murrell, really, isn't it? It's a little lavender marriage between two people who don't really like each other. But in this case, it's two parties that don't really like each other. Anyway, the opposition say the Greens' poor record is the main reason why so many businesses have been criticising the Scottish government. Scottish Conservative business spokesman Murdo Fraser said there's a reason Scottish businesses feel that the Nationalist coalition is coming for them, and that's because they are. And they are. They keep pushing more and more difficulty onto them. Taxes and rules and regulation and red tape. And it just means you've got so much going against you, you can't actually do your day's work. And so, it's tying businesses up. He continued, the SNP signalled their hostility to business by inviting the extremist, anti-growth Greens into government, making Scotland the highest taxed part of the UK and failing to pass on the rates relief provided south of the border. And they were told that they could do this, and they declined, basically. They said, no, we're not doing it. Their refusal to properly engage with businesses resulted in Lorna Slater's botched DRS, which has cost Scottish firms a fortune and will cost eventually the taxpayer the fortune as the compensation claims hit the courts. It is little wonder that Fergus Ewing, Neil Gray and now Beryl, the SNP leader at Westminster, have expressed concerns at the increasingly crackpot Greens dictating Humza Yousaf's policies. And of course they're going to, because Humza Yousaf does not have the cojones to say no. He added, even as the First Minister's closest colleagues can see the damage being done. A Freedom of Information response revealed Mr Gray issued a direct warning to Miss Slater about regulations on businesses proposed in her circular economy bill. It came at a meeting on June the 1st. Arranged a look into proposals for a new latte levy on single-use coffee cups. A ban on shops destroying unsold goods. Handing councils the power to fine households which fail to recycle properly. Well, how many bins do you want outside your house? How many times are you going to send different lorries down your street, hardly green? And then you have the video of people watching as a lorry turns up, picks up your green bin, picks up your brown bin, picks up your black bin, and puts them all in the same bloody lorry. What is the point? A note of the meeting said it was requested by Mr. Gray to discuss how SG is taking people with us in the bill process. An outline of the bill was presented to him, including implications for businesses. Bullet point minutes of Mr. Gray's concern said he wanted to avoid making businesses feel we're coming for them, and that ministers instead push the opportunity of the bill and how they can work together. Any government that wants its economy to work, regardless of its political outline, has to work with businesses. It has to work hand in glove to make sure businesses work, because without them, there is no economy. In an interview published yesterday, Beryl Flynn also distanced himself from the Green policies. He told the Herald, "It's no secret that on some issues I'm not in tandem with the Greens. We're there to govern for everyone in Scotland, and everyone's lives are challenging at the moment." Yeah, a lot of the time it's because of SNP policy though, isn't it, Stephen? The comments add pressure on Mr Yousaf to reconsider the Green coalition and the policies Ms Slater and Mr Harvey are constantly pushing in government, which everyone knows are completely bonkers and wrong and destructive. And they basically want to end the Scottish coal industry, and oil industry, which is the one thing that if you had an independent Scotland you would absolutely need in order to raise any kind of money. You know, it's bonkers, isn't it? They said only by working closely with businesses can we hope to achieve an economy which prospers while caring for people and the planet, which is why the New Deal for Business Group was set up to reset this relationship. And then he talks about some nice things that Greens can do about businesses. The Scottish Greens declined to comment because they think they know their time is coming to an end and they want to drag it out as long as possible, because while their ministers are earning more money, and of course it goes into their pensions, which is all that they're in it for. They are, at the worst, a very strange bunch. But, you know, what do you do? What do you do? Anyway, I shall round there and come up. So I hope you agree there. Then what we're seeing here is an ever louder chorus saying that the Greens must go. More people are feeling confident to say it now. Where it was just a quiet sort of thing, shall we? It's now being said, no, we need to get rid of them. They're damaging, they're dangerous, they're bonkers, they're mad. They need to go. And I think most people in Scotland would agree. Now, of course, it's up to Humza Yousaf ultimately. It's up to him as leader. But should he decide not to, it will only heap pressure on him as leader and may even lead to his, well, not being leader anymore all of a sudden. These are the sort of things that happen, you know, a little coup d'etat. I mean, it's not unheard of, is it, for a single issue to be the coup d'etat? So, yeah, he's got to be very, very mindful, I think, of the voices within his own party and care less about the voices in the Greens. Indeed, to care not one dot about the voices in the Greens. Anyway, I shall finish there. Bit of a longer one than usual, but anyway, thank you very much for watching. If you like what you've seen here on the channel, please hit the subscribe button, and really do hit the subscribe button if you're one of the regulars who hasn't yet done so. Leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video, and until next time, stay safe, stay well, and never vote for the Greens, because they are absolute lunatics. And I up. Bye.